You know, 7 children and the Alps supposedly beautiful music. Gorgeous music. In 1965, something happened during filming that made the entire cast break down. It wasn't a death or an accident. It was a noise, a ridiculous, childish noise that ruined take after take of the movie's most important scene. The studio spent thousands trying to fix it. They couldn't, so they covered it up instead. For 30 years, no one was allowed to talk about what really happened in that gazebo. Even Christopher Plummer, who hated the film, kept the secret until Julie Andrews finally spilled everything on live television. This monstrous helicopter had a cameraman very bravely strapped to the side where the door would be. In 1956, a German producer released 2 films based on Maria von Trapp's memoir. They became massive hits in West Germany. In fact, they were the biggest post-war films there, spreading across Europe and even South America. But in America, studios laughed them off as amateur hour. Then something strange happened. Paramount sent Tony-winning director Vincent J. Duanhu to look through potential projects. When he saw the films, he also thought they were clumsy, but something about the story touched him deeply. So instead of pitching it as a movie, he said something bold. You can't make this a film. You have to turn it into a Broadway musical for Mary Martin. That idea changed everything. Maria von Trapp had already sold the film rights years earlier for just $9,000. In today's money, that's about $104,000. At the time, it didn't seem like much. And it wasn't. Hollywood had tried to buy just the title, but Maria refused. She insisted that if anyone was going to tell her story, they had to tell the whole thing. By the late 50s, Mary Martin and her husband Richard Holiday were trying to get in touch with Maria about the stage rights. But they couldn't find her. She was off, doing missionary work in Papua New Guinea with Father Nur. Every time they arrived at a new mission station, they found letters waiting from some couple in America. Maria tore them up. She wasn't interested in Broadway. She was focused on helping people. Then fate stepped in. When Maria and Nur returned to the U.S. by ship, they arrived in San Francisco. Richard Holiday was waiting. He handed them tickets to see Mary Martin in Annie Get Your Gun. After the show, Maria was impressed, but she had to break the bad news. She'd already sold the rights to the Germans. Still, she told them, "You're welcome to give it your best shot." That shot would soon become legendary. Originally, the plan was to use real Austrian folk songs in the musical, with just a few new songs added by Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein, but when asked to write just one song, they pushed back. Their Broadway style wouldn't blend with old European tunes. They gave the producers an ultimatum. Let us write the entire score or we're out. The producers agreed to wait while they finished Flower Drum Song. That wait paid off. The show opened on Broadway on November 16, 1959, starring Mary Martin and Theodore Beckel. It cost $400,000 to produce, but advance ticket sales were jaw-dropping. $232 million. The musical ran for $1,443. Performances. Mary Martin only missed one show during her entire run. Just months later, in June 1960, the film rights sparked a bidding war. 20th Century Fox won, paying $1.25 million. That's over $13 million today. At the time, the studio was financially bleeding from the Cleopatra disaster. This was a huge risk, but the deal had a strange clause. If the film made more than $12.5 million, the writers would get 10% of the profits. Howard Lindsay thought it was a joke. What picture ever made more than that? He was about to find out. Casting Maria von Trapp in the film version brought its own drama. Julie Andrews was heartbroken after being snubbed for the role of Eliza in My Fair Lady. They picked Audrey Hepburn. Instead, Hollywood saw Andrews as too plain for the screen. But director Robert Wise saw something in her. He watched unfinished footage of Mary Poppins at Disney and turned to the screenwriter. Let's sign her before someone else does. Andrews signed on for $225,000. About $2.28 million today. No royalties. No box office percentage, just a flat fee. Meanwhile, Mary Martin earned over $8 million from the stage version. Fox would later regret not giving Andrews a piece of the profits. Her win for Mary Poppins was sweet revenge. During her Oscar speech, she thanked the man who rejected her, Mr. Jack Warner. Captain Von Trapp wasn't easy to cast either. Christopher Plummer said no several times. He thought the role was bland and lifeless. He even wrote a letter to the screenwriter demanding changes, more passion, better dialogue, and a personal song that revealed his feelings for Maria. Director Wise tried other stars. Sean Connery, Richard Burton, Bing Crosby. Nothing felt right. Finally, Wise flew to London, convinced Plummer to join on the condition that he could reshape the character. Even then, Plummer hated the project. He called it the sound of mucus. He drank through much of the shoot. He later admitted he was drunk during the family's final performance scene. Julie Andrews' $225,000 salary now stands as one of Hollywood's biggest miscalculations. The film would go on to earn over $286 million globally, and she didn't see a single dollar beyond that original check. Fox had been desperate. Cleopatra had nearly killed the studio, costing $15 million to make. They had to sell their backlit and real estate. Even the chairman was fired. But the sound of music would pull them back from the brink. And yet, their biggest star, Julie Andrews, was the one they underpaid most. Not everyone made the cut. Mia Farrow auditioned 3 times for the role of Lissel. She was 20 years old. The director's notes were blunt, nice, soft, but lacking energy. He also didn't think she could dance. Ironically, Charmian Carr, who won the role, was 21, older than Farrow, but she had the spark they needed. Farrow's rejection ended her path in musicals, but opened the door to Rosemary's Baby. Other hopefuls included Kurt Russell, Patty Duke, and Terry Garr. But it was Nicholas Hammond at 15 who landed the role of Friedrich. He would later become the first live-action Spider-Man in 1977. The other Von Trapp children were carefully chosen through long auditions.